It may seem impossible to eat whatever you want without suffering the repercussions, especially if you've convinced yourself that you'll burn it off during your next aerobic workout. However, specialists assert that it is unimportant if you exercise more frequently or for a longer period of time. Exercise can somewhat undo the consequences of a poor diet. You can be unwell even if you look slim. On social media, the unofficial term skinny fat is used to describe someone who appears small but has a high body fat percentage. A regular exerciser might have minimal visceral fat but a lot of visceral fat, which is the fat that lies just beneath the skin and is easy to squeeze. Because it covers your organs, this fat layer is less obvious. Dr. Colin Carricker, an exercise physiologist and associate professor of health and human performance at High Point University in North Carolina, cautioned that visceral fat is more harmful than the visible outer layer of fat. The same kinds of dangers that come with obesity could arise from eating processed meals heavy in sugar, salt, and carbohydrates that cause visceral fat to accumulate. For instance, the illness known as atherosclerosis, which causes the arteries to stiffen and become narrower, may be brought on by excessive amounts of visceral fat circulating throughout the body. This obstruction raises the risk of heart attack and stroke because it prevents blood from reaching the remainder of the body's tissues. Exercise without a focus on healthy food increases the risk of dying young. In one of the largest studies to examine the relationship between physical activity and diet quality, researchers discovered that persons who frequently exercised but ate whatever they wanted had a higher mortality risk than those who did both. Why it's so difficult to overcome a poor diet. The secret to losing weight is to create a calorie deficit, or a situation in which you burn more calories than you take in. However, this can be difficult if you often consume fatty, high-calorie items. Carricker stated, "You're overeating calories and will need to do way more exercise than a person can sustain over the long term. Spending more time exercising or working out harder would be one option." However, according to Grace DeRoca, a registered dietitian and spokesperson for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, this strategy doesn't really work when you're out of gas. This is due to the high amount of empty calories in fast food and sugar-sweetened beverages. Foods that have been processed, like soda and sweets, contain very little nutrition. Lacking vitamins, protein, and fiber will leave you feeling continually hungry, making it difficult to consider exercising out. People who don't eat well are frequently still hungry, grumpy, and lack the same drive or incentive to exercise, according to DeRoca. Those ineffective calories will make it more difficult to have a successful workout session if you do manage to get to the gym. According to Caroline Susie, a registered dietitian and spokesman for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, fatty foods may initially provide a brief surge of energy, but they won't be sufficient to sustain a lengthy or intense workout, making it easy to become exhausted sooner. Additionally, since empty calories are not burned off, they are stored as fat. If you're not getting the necessary nutrients, it won't matter what kind of workout you do in the long run. People who lift weights typically burn more calories than those who exercise by doing cardio. DeRoca claimed that obtaining nutrients from low-quality foods will make it more difficult to increase muscle mass and completely recover from a demanding activity. Your best strategy is to increase your intake of high-protein foods like chicken and salmon in order to gain muscle mass. Protein and other macronutrients assist maintain and increase lean muscle mass, according to DeRoca. Balance is essential. You don't have to give up all the meals you like to eat in order to be healthy. People frequently denigrate particular foods, and DeRoca claimed that this might lead to an unhealthy relationship with food. Susie suggested changing your attitude rather than feeling bad about eating dessert or having takeaway the other night. She advised focusing on the type of energy food can supply rather than just the number of calories it contains. If you've consumed enough fiber today, consider adding more protein, omega-3 fatty acids, or healthy carbs. It's just fuel, not good or bad food, she remarked. It's a healthier approach to fueling yourself when you look at it from an addition standpoint rather than a restriction standpoint.